Good evening, fellow stress relief seekers and seekers of happiness. Another episode of How to Be Happy, and we're continuing with debunking the myths about meditation, just in case there are any out there. People just accept now that I meditate, so they don't bother asking me all the daft questions. I've answered them to their heart's content. They realize that I haven't turned any weirder than I ever used to be, or any more eccentric. I'm still essentially the same person, and that I haven't taken up with a big, is it a cloud of cats anyway, or started wearing, well, actually, I lied. Did start wearing stuff. However, that aside, I still lead more or less the same lifestyle as ever I did. Okay, so there are some things not to do when you meditate, but we're talking here about debunking the myths. So some people think that maybe it's difficult, like a kind of Olympic sport. You don't need to be an expert at it. It can be as simple as just repeating a word or becoming very, very aware of your surroundings, concentrating on one thing. Is daydreaming a form of meditation? No, it's not. Daydreaming is escapist fantasy. It's not focused enough. Meditation can seem like you are drifting into daydreams, and if you, well, after a while, with certain people, that's what they experience, and it's well documented, has been in a lot of pamphlets and treatises on the subject. And the thing to do is, when you do find that your mind has drifted, which is a normal thing to do, so that your subconscious mind will try to distract you because it doesn't like you focusing on one thing. You just acknowledge the fact and you get back, so you stop daydreaming. But daydreaming itself, like say about winning the lottery, no, that is not a form of meditation. Visualization and affirmations, they're not my thing. I think that some forms of affirmation can be useful, but I do not subscribe to the idea that if you make affirmations to the tune of "I win the lottery, I am surrounded by lots of money," that will come true, because that is wishing, that is hoping that a genie is going to come out of a bottle and grant you your 3 wishes. And as most of us will affirm, that doesn't happen. And it's not down to whether or not you are a true believer, etc., because most children are, and they have these little affirmations and daydreams all the time. They're going to beat the bully up and be Superman or Supergirl or Superwoman. Is there a Superwoman? Anyway, the super female type. Or they are going to have a pony, or they are going to go to Disney World. It doesn't quite happen that way, does it? But they believe it at the time, because that's how kids feel. So if it was all down to just believing and wholeheartedly committing to it, the world would be a very, very different place. So that's not meditation. That is a different thing. Affirmations which do strike true and which serve as kind of mottos, where there's a will, there's a way, or you've got to be in it to win it, or 90% of all success is simply turning up, or success is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Those are affirmations which you tell yourself, and they work. They keep you going. So yes, I've got a lot of time for them. But I live in a mansion somewhere. Oh, there it is, because people who wrote a certain book said it would happen. No, sorry. We got to get real here. And I'm not making any promises to you about meditation, which meditation cannot deliver. Is it self-hypnosis? No. I don't know whether self-hypnosis is actually possible. For me, it's like trying to tickle myself. Other people can tickle me, and I don't like it because I don't. But I can't tickle myself. Now that could just be that I've got an overactive mind, and 10% of the population cannot be hypnotized. I'm one of that 10%, simply because I've got an overactive brain. I analyze everything. So, does that mean that if I were hypnotizable, I would be able to self-hypnotize? Don't know. I would love to have this conversation with somebody who swears blind that they can hypnotize themselves, or 2 or 3 or 4, conduct some sort of scientific survey and find out what is happening. Are they in EEG-wise the same state as if they were under hypnosis? Is it the same as praying? We've already covered this. Praying is a form of meditation if you are focused and if you are repeating a mantra. If you are asking for things, then I'm not so sure. But meditation is not praying per se, but praying can be a form of meditation. In the same way that tiger is an animal, but not all animals are tigers. What meditation can't do for you? Well, I don't think it can make you a more spiritual person. I don't think it can take you up to kind of a cosmic level spiritually. I personally don't think that meditation has really much of a spiritual element to it. It's a way of getting your internal biochemistry in some semblance of order via focused rest. And yeah, I'm sorry if that sounds horribly scientific, but as I keep saying, we're just a bag of chemicals. I don't honestly believe that we are connecting with the ether or anything like that. We have control over what's inside this container, and sometimes we don't, and external circumstances control what's going inside this container. So it's for us to use whatever tools we can to get them back into stasis, into a sense of balance, so that we can function properly and without pain, and without pain caused by stress. And don't forget, I mean, stress, if you're suffering from it, you know it's a bad thing. If you only have mild stress, then maybe you think it's not quite so bad. But severe stress is terrible. It causes, well, PTSD, OCD, ADHD. Or is it ADD, or is it both? These things are to be taken seriously. So if we can help get some semblance of our biochemistry to where it should be, rather than spiking and troughing all over the place, then any tool is going to help. Meditating is not going to turn you into a monk. It's not going to turn you into a good guy or a bad guy. And I'm using the word guy in the Billie Eilish sense, male and female. It's not going to give you insight into other worlds. It's not going to give you insight into realms beyond. It's not going to give you insight into your past, your present. It's not really going to give you much of an insight, to be honest, into your own personality. Because personality is a different thing. Bear with me. Your personality, if you ask 10 people, and those people are your brother, your child, a parent, a co-worker, a boss, that'll do for 5. If you go to a bar or whatever, the bartender, they would possibly describe you in completely different ways, because you act differently with them. Your interaction with your parent is going to be very different from your interaction with your own child and with your significant other. They see different aspects of you because the chemistry between you both is always different. So your personality is what they see and how they would describe you. Therefore, you have multiple facets to yourself, and your parent would describe you one way, your child would describe you another, your husband or wife or significant other, partner, would describe you in a third way, your co-worker, your best friend, they would all see and experience different sides to you, probably be unaware of other ones, and you could end up with very, very different accounts of what your personality is. Oh my goodness, nearly 11 minutes. Well, I'm going to finish this anyway because debunking myths about meditation, there's just about it really. You're not going to end up as a weirdo. You're going to end up calmer. And if that's a bad thing, then there's no end to that sentence. If being calmer is a bad thing, oh, I've got one anecdote. I'll tell that tomorrow, actually. Somebody became so calm. Yes, it was. No. Was it good? Was it bad? We'll discuss that tomorrow. Right. And it's the only person I know that was affected that way. Okay. So I hope that's helped. We will eventually get round to looking at some forms of meditation, but you've already got the breathing one, and really that's the only one you need. That is a one-size-fits-all meditation stroke relaxation method. It's super efficient. Keep on practicing that. Okay, good night.